So we've invited Dr. Jennison to our round table. Dr. Jennison is a GYN oncologist and practices at Bellin. And he's also the chairman of the Minimally Invasive Surgery Steering Committee and Program. And we'd like to have you talk just a little bit about your background and the importance of engaged surgeons with the committee process, particularly as it relates to credentialing, and one of your passions is simulation. So if you could maybe explain a little bit the role of simulation in the training process.
Well, sure. Thank you for having me here. I've been in practice now for 33 years, and one of the most exciting things that has happened in my specialty of gynecologic oncology has been robotics. It really has revolutionized what we do. And helps us to do it better. So I've been doing robotics now for going on 9 years, about the same amount of time that you have been. And Bellin brought me here to help develop their robotics program a little bit further and to help head up the minimally invasive surgery and robotics program. We formalized it, and it's very important for all surgeons to go through the credentialing process. We fortunately now have some national guidelines from our societies that have helped to guide us. But in addition to the basic training program by Intuitive for the Da Vinci robot, where they have an online course that takes about 2 hours and a test afterwards, followed by a dry lab, which goes on for anywhere from 2 to 4 hours with the rep. And then also a live full-day surgery course, and for some specialties it's 2 days of surgery. At that point, the surgeon comes back and has to be proctored for their first 5 cases, and the proctor has to certify that they've been able to do the procedure competently. After that, they have basic privileges. If the surgeon wants to go on to obtain advanced privileges for advanced procedures, they have to complete at least 15 basic courses. And then they have to be proctored once again for their first 2 cases in the advanced category. And that's just to obtain the credentialing. It's very important also for patient safety to have maintenance of certification. So every year, Bellin requires each surgeon to have a certain volume, so many cases per year, and also to pass an objective simulation course where they spend several hours with the Da Vinci simulator, and they have to achieve a certain score to show that they can use the machine competently.
And tell us a little bit of background about simulation, like where does it fit? We never really simulated open surgery before, but now, because of computer-assisted surgery, robotic surgery, we have the ability to simulate these tasks that are required. And talk a little bit about the process that we went through at the hospital to define and then also monitor the surgeon's compliance with simulation.
Well, simulation is a tremendous advance in surgery, and in fact we're using simulation for everything in medicine. But in surgery it's been very helpful. We've never been able to really objectify how well a surgeon does a procedure, how competent they are. And you know, with patient safety being such an important thing nowadays, simulation has helped tremendously. Fortunately, I was on the forefront of helping to develop some of the hardware and software that are used in surgical simulators. And we were able to validate the fact that simulators can substitute for some surgical training and can also help the surgeon to maintain their competence in addition to live surgery. Probably the best thing about simulation is that we can now as chairman of the committee, I have an objective tool that I can use to show that my surgeons are competent in the procedures that they're doing.
We've used, you and I have talked about this before, and we have a mutual friend, Dr. Linehan, with his work in simulation, and that's some of the publications that we've talked about that are validated in the literature now. And he's a pilot. I think he was in the Air Force, right?
Right.
Yeah. And if I'm a patient, I want to know that my surgeon is going through competency training on an ongoing basis, just like if I go fly on an airline, I want to make sure that the guy in the cockpit is up to speed, simulating, flying on a regular basis. We expect the same from a safety profile from our surgeons, right?
Absolutely, and the aviation analogy is a great one, and Dr. Linehan really has helped to promote bringing that process into medicine. And just as pilots have to spend so many hours on the simulator to maintain their competency, we think that any complex machinery used in surgery should have the same process.
And I think we do a great job at Bellin monitoring that. We see with CAVA type of programs that don't require simulation, they don't require a minimum number of cases per year, and what we see in their performance and in their data is poor outcomes, excessive operative times, excessive complication rates, and there's no real benchmark for measurement.
That's right, and you know, it's important for people to cooperate in order to get those things done. And the administrators are very supportive of the robotics program at Bellin. They want to make sure that we can show the public that we operate safely and that our surgeons are competent.
Right. Like we say at Bellin, it's not really the robot that makes the program, it's that the surgeon is the one driving the robot that makes the program.
Absolutely right. And things are in constant flux. And that's why it's important to get your administration behind the program, because new equipment, new disposables are constantly being introduced, and it's important for surgeons to know about that, and for the entire staff really to know about it. The other component is training. It's not just important to have your surgeons properly trained, it's important to have your staff properly trained. Your surgical techs, your circulators, the person who's in charge of the surgical program at the hospital. The Minimally Invasive Surgery and Robotics Committee allows us to get everybody together in the same room where we can talk about the challenges that we all see in our areas. The surgeons talk about what the problems that they have, the equipment that they need. The administrators are there and they can talk about the budget that they have to deal with. So I think it's important for hospitals really to have a committee, an ongoing committee that can solve problems on a monthly basis.
Great. Thanks for your input. And Josh, any concluding statements?
I just wanted to compliment your work, Dr. Jennison, because I think what you've really done is once again summarized so many of the critical principles of really effective, top-notch robotic program governance and implementation. And one of the reasons that CAVA Robotics is so pleased and proud to partner with Bellin Health in our National Training Center is that Bellin, with your work, Herb, and all the work, Dr. Jennison, that your group is doing, really represents best-in-class robotic performance. So
Thank you.
Our congratulations.
Thank you very much.